I was a cheerleader who got dropped from the top of a pyramid and shattered my jaw in 6 spots and knocked out 14 teeth. So between the age of 12 and 34, I've had 8 or 9 surgeries, not to mention physical therapy, arthroscopy, cortisone, splint therapy, all sorts of things.
Because my chin was pushed back so far that my air tube was basically a quarter the size that it should have been. And so from that kind of said, well, this is not just physical, this is also medical. I should really do something about this because this could turn into some bad stuff later on in my life.
With girls, like society expects you to be more like a smaller face, better features, and my jaw was just there, like it was the first thing you notice.
As a child and a teenager, I was terribly teased my entire life. I was called chinless. I was so self-conscious my whole life that I always kept my hair down and covering my face.
Oral surgery in general is a daunting thing to anybody. And so the first thing I have to do is I have to be able to read my patient right off the bat, this quick. And therefore, if I sense that there's some fear or anxiety, then I'm going to make sure and buffer that with some gentle words, with some confidence, with some humility, and make sure I make them feel comfortable. But more importantly is our office staff is good from the minute the patient walks in the door to the moment they exit.
Dr. Reed Day has built his oral and facial surgery center of Phoenix practice into one of the top practices in the entire country by providing the ultimate in patient care and satisfaction. Graduating at the top of his class at Harvard Dental School, Dr. Day also went on to graduate from Harvard Medical School and ultimately landed in Phoenix to begin his practice in 1990. He serves as the team physician for the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Phoenix Suns, and the Arizona Coyotes. In fact, Dr. Day is the surgeon who famously reconstructed the jaws of Jeremy Roenick and Anquan Bolden. But he treats all his patients and all his procedures the same way, passionately, efficiently, and confidently.
I always tell my patients I'm only as good as my next operation. And so hopefully a little bit of humility and confidence goes a long way with my patients. Wisdom teeth, dental implants, the basic stuff is wonderful, and I enjoy it very much, and I'm hopefully pretty good at it. But what I really love to do is the corrective jaw surgery and temporal mandibular joint surgery.
He diagnosed me like that. He talked me through the procedure and what we would need to do to prepare. I knew I was in good hands. I heard that he was just one of very few in the country and few in the world that can even do this kind of surgery, so I knew I was okay.
He 100% changed my life, not only in function, but I'm an education director for a living, so I'm out at meetings and board meetings and trade shows and events, and I have to speak constantly, and I'm able to do that comfortably now without taking breaks. On a personal level, dating was hard before. When you didn't know if you could go out to dinner, you didn't know if you could hold a conversation. Now I can date again. I
used to not be able to look down and breathe, and now I can do that easily. And so as soon as I woke up, it was just, I could actually breathe. It was pretty amazing. When I went back to school, I went up to a good friend of mine, a linebacker I played with, and he was like, "Man, you look just like my friend Harrison." And I was like, I am, that's who I am.
I also sat down in one of my classes, and a guy that I sat next to for a whole year in English, he looks at me, he's like, "Hey, are you Elsie's sister?" And I'm like, "No, I actually happen to be her." And then he just looked at me, he's like, "What? How?"
Think about violating someone's mouth or face or something. That's a big deal. And so you have to make sure that they're ultimately confident in your abilities, and then you make them feel comfortable with your abilities.
He saved my life. This man knows what he's doing. You're in very capable hands, and he's such a nice guy.